There has to be some benefit, otherwise the cities wouldn't be doing this, right?
Yeah, but for Denver, they got a lot of things to clean up and spend money on before they bring a UFC event out here.
Yeah, you don't need like a crackhead stabbing.
Remember Frank Trigg? He's a referee in the UFC for the Contender Series last night.
Yeah, I think he's been a ref in the UFC for like a year now, I think.
Yeah, he looks different after that.
He
USADA,
does.
though.
Yeah.
You
don't really
look a little
recognize
different.
him.
Knockout.
Yeah, he got a soul snatched on that one. Sounds like you're worried about our boy's chin, but he's going to be fighting in Rio. Does he summon the spirit of his nation to rise to victory?
That might be true in Rio, though. Like in Brazil, that could be true.
Welcome to the Denver Sports Betting Show UFC edition. My Fight Squad never left. This segment is brought to you by CD's Wings. Be sure to get their flavor of the month, balsamic chicken rub. I have not had it myself, but I heard it is delicious. I will be getting it by the end of the month. And what better way to enjoy UFC than with CD's Wings? But we got fight news to talk about. The news never ends. Just today, we heard Charles Oliveira has a new opponent. Taylor, you told me about this. Who is it?
Gamrot. And I guess there was some disparity on who was going to take this fight. Diego Lopez offered it for it, and a bunch of other fighters offered for it. But yeah, Gamrot got this fight.
I heard people were running.
Yeah, that's what Oliveira said. But I'm like, Oliveira, dude, last time we saw you, it didn't look too good. So I don't think Lopez is running from him.
No, but Mateusz Gamrot, I mean, can we agree? He's going to get destroyed.
Yeah, I hope. Charles is coming back, I feel, too soon, and I don't like that. I was hoping like
it'd be 4 months or something.
This was going to get canceled, and like he would get more time to kind of rest and come back from that awful knockout.
Yeah, he got a soul snatched on that one. We were just talking about chins. Sounds like you're worried about our boy's chin, but he's going to be fighting in Rio. Does he summon the spirit of his nation to rise to victory?
That might be true in Rio, though. Like in Brazil, that could be true.
I don't know, man. If he does get knocked out somehow again, like it's downhill. It's Tony Ferguson style.
I just don't want to see that happen. No. To everything Charles has done for the sport and all the great moments he's given us, I would hate to see that happen. But I think it's a better matchup for him than Vazeev.
That's true. Yeah. Very true.
And he deserves it. You know, if there's any one guy who deserves to redeem himself, it's Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
What we saw out of Pantoja, that is fighting somebody who's one of one. I don't think it happens again. Give me Oliveira. He destroys him. As I always say, there's levels to this game, and Charles is at that upper level. Just because he got KO'd by Topuria, it doesn't really change it for me. There's nobody out there like Topuria that has that power. He's on a different level. But speaking of knockouts, we have Raja Jackson, who is now in jail, facing a $50,000 bond. A legal expert said he could be facing up to 7 years in jail for what he did. I mean, he didn't get the rehab that Sean Strickland wanted him to get, but I think he is where he needs to be. $50,000 bond, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he got arrested on September 19th by the LA County Sheriff's Department, and Rampage was catching all that slack, right, of like all these different people comment on the stuff. Well, Rampage still hasn't put up the bond, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I guess he's still in there, and yeah, man, he's going to face consequences. We talked about that before. Like he has to face some consequences here.
I don't think anyone's going to mess with him, so that's good.
You never know. There's a lot of wrestling fans in there.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, WWE versus MMA. Who wins? But no, I mean, the whole situation is just very, very crazy. Like you said, Rampage Jackson faced so much criticism for defending his son. I mean, I don't think anything he said was really out of line or out of pocket for a dad to say about their son, right?
No. And the thing is, like, $50K bond, like I can see like leaving him in there for a little bit and be like, yo, this is, the consequences. But Rampage is going to put up money to make sure he doesn't get that 7 years. Like, that's his son. He doesn't want to see him getting maxed. So he's going to lawyer up, get a good lawyer. I think you'll see half of that, even less than that.
I mean, I can't say he'll face the full 7 years, but like he said, he didn't even put up the bond to get him out of jail. So I don't know how much support he's getting from his pops. Taylor, as a dad, defending your son is kind of expected. So I just really don't understand this heat that Rampage has gotten.
Yeah, I don't think.
What has he said that's really so far out of line?
I haven't heard anything that he said. I mean, I heard him say that the situation was wrong and that what Raja Jackson did was not right, and that he wanted to know about Psycho Stu's status and how he was doing, and he would love to come meet with Psycho Stu after he got out of the hospital. Like I didn't really hear anything bad, but the criticism he got for it was a little intense.
The worst thing I think he said was like you don't really know. You don't really know what happened. You don't really know, and which is true. All we saw was a video, and I mean, the video was pretty bad, but he really didn't go out of line and say like, oh, he's innocent, you know. He really said like, hey, he should be facing some consequences for what he did. I think that is personally very reasonable. But moving right along, I found something very interesting on the internet. The fees paid by cities to host UFC events. I didn't even know this was a thing. As if the UFC needs any more money. Should they be getting paid by the city to host these events?
That's crazy, right? And you sent that to me, and it said like Saudi Arabia in 2014 paid $20 million to get them to bring a UFC event there. And all that, and there's all this fighter pay question still. Like, how much are you getting from each of these cities? And is that just going straight to Dana, or where's that going?
To the blackjack table.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly. That's wild. And I guess Denver is not about it, so that's why we never get any.
Yeah, nothing meaningful, that's for sure. I mean, the Saudis, they're rich, they can afford it.
Yeah.
But the excitement that it brings to a city is kind of like a mini Super Bowl. When you have these numbered events, I mean, the turnout for them is crazy. The watch, how many people watch every single week is crazy. You know, the hotels, the people flying in for these events. I'm not saying, you know, UFC fans are ballers, you know. You get to look at the table and see those are real, by the way. But I mean, there has to be some benefit. Otherwise, the cities wouldn't be doing this, right?
Yeah, but for Denver, they got a lot of things to clean up and spend money on before they bring a UFC event out here.
Yeah, you don't need like crackhead stabbies.
Yeah, I don't know. That's wild. I guess you would have to just see the numbers and everything if it makes sense, because Denver is such a big sports. Like, you're going to get
It's
this
a fighting hub.
It's true. It's very true. But I think that's kind of whack from UFC to be like, well, I guess you're not getting it, even though we are like a mecca here.
And a lot of people would do very well coming to Denver. I think it's a great city to host a fight. If there is money being paid out by all these different cities and things like that, don't you think that there is an opportunity to, I don't know, kind of flip the script? I mean, shouldn't the UFC be paying the city?
Yeah, to allow them to come in, and like there's a lot of benefits that come in, right? With people
money
coming in and tourism and all that stuff coming in. But logistically wise for the city, there's a lot of issues they have to deal with staffing of the different events, shutting down everything, like especially if Trump decides to show up to one, like all those different things that go into that. Like it is a lift for the city.
It's a lift for the city, but I mean, Denver, like, we're no slouch. We have multiple arenas that could host a big event. We do get fight nights every once in a while, but we really haven't had a big numbered event.
What are you talking about? We had UFC 1.
UFC won 320 UFC events ago. So, I mean, we deserve it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Dana kind of has his roots set in Las Vegas, and then it kind of branches out from there. The UFC hosting these different events, I always thought logistically would be a pretty big deal. Ryan, you are somebody who kind of manages something very similar, putting on events and stuff like that, hosting an event in Paris, France. I mean, you got to fly your staffers out there. So maybe that's one of the reasons, but what's your thoughts?
I don't know. I just think that's crazy. I feel like since TKO came over and bought it and everything, tickets have gone up. Like, I feel like they're pricing out the average person. And I even saw the president of TKO was talking about WWE because they purchased them as well too. Right. And he said Vince McMahon was making the tickets too family friendly, and they're going to bump that up, and because they want to see more revenue out of it. So they're just making money any way they can, and they don't really care about the fans at that point or the fighters, because once again, like we were just talking, like you just said, you know, their pay could be a lot better if they're receiving like $20 million just to go there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it any way around it. Like they should be able to go to like a lot more states too, because there's people that love UFC.
Right.
It's huge, and they'll probably never get to see it because they don't have the money to go travel, get the hotel, get the seats, at the Sphere or something, or even Vegas. So it sucks. It really does.
Agan, you're somebody who attends a lot of these fights. As a fan going to the building, having these super high ticket prices, I mean, what does that do to, the average Joe like you and I?
I mean, like you were saying, there's a lot of fans that want to experience it and aren't able to, so I think that's why UFC goes to a lot of these other cities where they can make the tickets a little bit cheaper,
Yeah, Dubai, where they can,
right.
$500 for a nosebleed is nothing.
Right. And the crazy thing is, I feel like Denver should have a lot more events, but cities like Salt Lake City, there's an event there every single year,
Yeah.
And we think about Denver, I feel like Denver should have a lot more than that, you know what I mean? So
We really can, and we have great regional scene fights. So,
Right.
we've been to Sparta events, we've been to, what's the all-women's league?
Invicta.
Invicta. We did lots of great events
Right.
going on. So if you can't catch UFC in person, I mean, there's lots of great regional scene fights. It's just a bummer. Like you said, the average fan gets priced out. I know you have a son. I mean, to take your son to a fight, you're looking at $1,000.
Yeah, I spent $2,000 the last time on total on everything for everything that included that night. It was a mess. But Utah doesn't have income tax, right? I think
not
there's some
sure,
tax
honestly.
reasons too. I honestly think there's some tax reasons of why they do that event in Utah, and then why BKFC and some of these other organizations do so many events in Florida.
Yeah, but I mean, we know for a fact that they're making so much money, but moving away from the pay-per-view
Yeah.
model to the Paramount model, I mean, some of the crazy pay-per-view numbers, Conor McGregor, $13.3 million when he fought Khabib. Brock Lesnar, $7.8 million. Ronda Rousey, $4.4 million. I mean, getting away from that model, Dana's got to get that revenue up somehow, and I guess he's going to do it off of us.
But yeah, imagine that for the fighter though. Like Conor McGregor had in his career 13.3 million pay-per-view buys. Majority of that was when he was headlining a card and getting those pay-per-view points on it. So I don't know, this Paramount deal, we'll see how it goes out, but they're going to have to make that up for these. We don't have any mega stars like McGregor right now, but for Taporia and some of these other big name people, they're going to have to do something to make up that loss of pay-per-view buys for the fighter.
And I think that's why Dana White was so comfortable going away from the pay-per-view model, which has been the standard from boxing to UFC since the very, very beginning. He's probably seeing maybe the writing on the wall that, hey, maybe these pay-per-view buys aren't going to be what they used to be. Let's go to this guarantee check over here that Paramount's going to write to us. I don't know. I kind of like it from a business standpoint.
No, 100%. Because I don't even know who was the last person that bought a pay-per-view in this room.
Everybody on this October 4th, because allegedly Stream East is no longer available.
I don't know. I never went to that website. But speaking of events that will have nobody in attendance, the UFC White House went from expecting 5,000 people to now nobody will be in attendance. Taylor, how do we get here?
Yeah, and it got moved from July to June, right? Which no big thing there. It was gonna go
That's a huge thing. It was supposed to be on 4th of July.
But still, it's happening at the White House. Like it's
for
big
America.
Either way. But it went from having 20,000 to 5,000 to none. Dana White is not even licensed to put on a fight in DC right now. So I think this
He
is
probably
all,
knows a guy that can make that happen. now.
Right, but this is all great and fun to talk about it, but it's so premature that they're talking about finally McGregor Chandler on the card, supposedly that's about to happen and all this, but either way, I'm here for it. Having a UFC event at the White House, no matter how it shakes out, to just experience that, I think is going to be something very, very cool.
Smart though. Smart not having anybody. I couldn't imagine 20,000 people at the White House. Security wise, that's got to be a nightmare. I couldn't imagine. So I'm glad they're not having anybody, because you don't have to worry about anything crazy happening at all.
Yeah, it'll be just like the judges and Trump. Or Trump might be one of the judges.
Special guest referee.
Yeah.
Do you remember Frank Trigg?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember Frank Trigg? He's a referee in the UFC. He was
Right.
being the ref for the Contender Series last night.
Yeah, I think he's been a ref in the UFC for like a year now, I think.
Yeah, he
Something like
looks
that.
different after that.
He
USADA,
does.
though.
Yeah. You don't
He
really
look a little
recognize
different.
him.
Okay, I have no idea who that guy is, but I'm glad he is there. But we're going to have to keep an eye on this. My dream was crushed having John Jones take on Tom Aspinall, 4th of July, America versus Great Britain, one last time. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen on the 4th of July. The fight could still happen. John Jones, he's getting ready. There's movement.
Yeah, he's getting tested.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's getting tested. The GOAT really doesn't even need to train. He just needs to be the GOAT. But with all that being said, that wraps up our show for today. Be sure to get your CD's wings in or order in early. Their flavor of the month, balsamic rub. It's not going to be here for long, but we'll see you guys next week.